This month, on Students in the Super podcast, Dr. Spray heads over to PTAC, or the Perry Township Academic Center. There, he learns more about how the community food pantry provides food for those in need, plus so much more.
Hello, welcome to another episode of podcast for Students in the Super, where we're highlighting another amazing program and amazing staff members and students in the Perry Township schools. Today we are here at our food pantry, located in downtown Southport at our Perry Township Academic Center. I'm here with Mrs. Quinlan, who helps run this program, as well as the three of the student volunteers from Southport High School. So, Ms. Quinlan, if you could just kind of highlight your activities here in the township, how long you've been here, and then why this is such a cool thing to be involved in.
Let's see, this is my 30th year in Perry Township Schools. I started here as a classroom teacher at Perry Middle, became an assistant principal and principal at Southport Middle, and then I've been in this position till as 3 days before COVID shut us down in 2020, actually. I'm currently the Assistant Director of Student Services. I love serving the students and the families that we have here in Perry Township. Specifically, I help most of the students that have a higher need than your average student. We had the opportunity when we are in this new building, which a lot of people know is the Gert Furniture Building, to have a wonderful space to increase the capacity of a local pantry that was at Southport High School for a while, serving 7 families every other week. In the 3 years, we've now moved it to an every week endeavor, and we serve between 120 and 150 families every week, upwards to 6,000 people every month in our community pantry.
So talk for just a second about your volunteer base. You know, we have students that come over, we have staff members, you have other community. But Colonel, what's the makeup of your current volunteer base?
Well, first I got to point out we can't do anything without our volunteers. We're able to run our pantry without costing the township any money. So all the manpower are volunteers. We get a bunch of volunteers from the Creek Church in Franklin Township. We have been able to build a relationship with Southport High School, so we're able to use the students and their SIP program that gets them hours to work for their diploma. We have some folks that have just heard about us on the website, or they've gone through Gleaners, or they're a local church organization that want to find ways to help something in the community they can help out with. So I would say church members. We recently, Southport United Methodist here, that's a block from us, their pastor and 2 of their church members are now volunteering, and that's kind of fresh and new. Every so often, we have people from our district that help us out, like employees. We have Kent Hatcher, who works in the financial office, and he's a regular helper. We have someone from HR. We've got somebody from IT. So we have some folks, even within our district, that when they're done with their school day, want to get back to the community. And this is an easy and convenient one to do that.
Okay, that's great. So if we can introduce our 3 volunteers from Southport High School now. Just give us your name, how old you are, and then also sometimes I ask kind of a silly question. So I want your name, how old you are, and your favorite candy. How about that? All right, we'll start down here.
What's your name?
Mr. Cooper.
Yusuf. Yep. And what's your favorite candy?
Chocolate.
Chocolate anything. Yes, he will take chocolate right from there. And what school are you at?
Super.
Southport High School. Right.
Hi, my name is Sandy St. Louis. I am 20 years old. My favorite candy, I would have to say Twizzlers.
Twizzlers, okay. Now, do you differentiate between Twizzlers and Red Vines? Because Red Vines are like Twizzlers, but some people just prefer one over the other.
I prefer neither.
Either one. Okay, all right, very good. And I think Sandy's going to take over my job here someday. So, yes.
Hi, I'm 90. I'm 19, and my favorite candy is Reese's.
Excellent. So that's great to hear. So, why any of you that want to help? Why is this a good opportunity for you, other than getting out of your classes at Southport High School and coming over? But what do you think is kind of cool about this opportunity?
What I like about this food pantry is where you get to work as a team. It's not only just about like as a team. It's more like as a family. You know, you help one another, you guide one another, you support one another's decision, even though everybody has like their own opinions and their own disagreements about things. But I just think that we all, as one, we're all like one big family. We just don't knock one another down whenever we're like trying to helping each other by doing things, and like I said again, Miss Quinlan, I think she's a really great, great person and great human being, and I like how she, she always has a team where, like if she feels like, where she feels like, oh, everything's falling apart and, and without without her team, none of this would have been possible without her.
I agree. It is pretty amazing the work that Ms. Quinlan does and her team in student services, but then just a lot of people around Perry Township in general that just want to get back. So what do you really like about the...
What I like about PTAC is it's like a learning experience for all of us. Like, we can get jobs, we can go out, and it will help us find a job in the real world. And have this like a learning experience for all of us. Like, so having Simpson bring us here and like just have all of us just work, and he said, well, get us a job in the real world.
How many hours a week do you put in the food pantry? Don't know about...
I think 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Wednesday, so about 4 hours a week.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about right.
All right. Can you explain just for a minute, just so our folks kind of what the mechanics of the food pantry looks like? So, do the people who need the assistance, do they have to register online or anything? Do they just show up? Like, what does that whole process look like, and how long does it take for a family to come in and then be able to leave with the merchandise?
Okay. Well, we make it really easy. I have funding from different sources, so they do require some information. So I have them do a digital check-in. The families come in their car and they park in a spot. It's kind of like a click list opportunity. So I make sure I greet every one of our neighbors that come, and all I need to do is get their last name, how many people live in their house, and if they qualify for assistance. And there's a chart that says, do you make this, if you make less than this per month based on how many people in your house. We do that just because we have to turn that in for me to get my funding from Gleaners and USDA. And so it's very minimal. It takes 3 seconds. Everybody knows their last name. They usually have to think about how many are in their house that week. But that's also helping our shoppers, because then we take their list, they circle whatever items they want. And we have anywhere from 30 to 40 items every week to choose from. We always have protein options. This week we had chicken breast, catfish, pouches of chicken, and we had chicken leg quarters and milk. We also have we always have fresh produce, pineapples, limes, mangoes, bananas. I think, what else do we have this week that we put up? Pears. Oh yeah, we always have pears and peaches and so forth.
And potatoes.
And then we always potatoes, and we always have a lot of canned goods. And the family's able to pick everything they want. And as long as I have over 100 of an item, we let them pick anything. Okay. If we are down to 70 of an item, we sometimes will say, how about this or this? So sometimes they have to make a choice, like cereal. We let them choose. We may not be able to give them the exact cereal they want, but if they want something sweet, they want something healthy, they want something like granola, they can make those choices. And so then we have volunteers that bring those lists in, and we have shoppers that take one of our carts, and they do a quick circle around the pantry and right here, and the items on the list are in the order they are in our little store. They put them in boxes, loop around, deliver to the car, and they're on their way. So it takes about, I don't know, from the time we get their list, 20 minutes max.
So you mentioned that you work with the Gleaners Food Bank and the USDA. So how does that food come in, and does the pantry pay for some of that? Is that through some a food program with the USDA? How does that work?
Well, we have two different fundings. The USDA program is called TFAT, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and that is given to me. I don't really have a choice on what that is, but they always provide plenty of canned goods that you can see kind of behind us. Canned goods, that's where our chicken and catfish is coming from. They also have shelf-stable milk and powdered milk, so items that you could keep in a pantry or freezer. And then I determine from there how much I then order from Gleaners. And Gleaners gives me about $1,300 a month in Gleaners money. It's not cash that goes into them, and I don't get any money back. But it's it's Gleaners money. But what's great about Gleaners money is it goes a long way. I could get let's say a box of cereal that has 12 boxes of cereal in it for $2. Okay. So it goes much further than going to a grocery store. We also get the food drives from different schools that will then donate their food into our pantry, so we're able to then put it on the shelf also.
Okay. I always find it interesting to walk through here, and because, even a building principal, when you do a food drive, a canned food drive or something like that, and I was guilty of this as a little kid, I'd go through the pantry at my parents' house and pick out the stuff I didn't want to eat and donate it and that sort of thing. But it's always so need to come through here and see a lot of the same products that we buy in the grocery store now in the food pantry. And with that choice and having that, I think that's what probably brings a lot of people back.
It absolutely was. Our mantra here is to serving nutritious food with warmth and dignity. All of our volunteers will always be smiling. They're always grateful to help out. We don't judge, no matter what kind of car they're in or what clothing they're wearing or what their food choices are. And then we give them the food that they want. I would put things on the shelves that I'd want to have in my own house.
And even beyond food, I mean, you guys, there are other products in here if students, but families need those. And I love how you put it, our neighbors. There are neighbors. So what are some other things maybe that aren't here now, but seasonally that the food pantry can also help out with in this pantry?
Well, not exactly food-based, but spices. Spices are expensive. So anytime we get donating of spices, it's very helpful. So spices, paper products like feminine hygiene, paper towels, toilet paper are big. Any kind of hygiene, toothpaste, toothbrushes, diapers. However, we don't get enough diapers to be able to put in our menu, so that's kind of hit or miss because they're pretty pricey. A lot of stuff. Sometimes baking items. So if we can get flour and baking soda, that type of thing. So all of those are great. I would hate to have anybody get something where they can't completely have a meal. So if we have a cake mix that requires eggs, I would put that on the menu and make sure I've ordered eggs so they can actually have everything in place to create that meal or that product.
What is some of the food that you guys have seen in here that just looks really, really good? I saw Reese Cup cereal, the puff cereals I'd never seen before. It looked really delicious.
I've seen like the mac and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. Yeah. That's probably the one that comes in pretty fake beans, crowd pleasers. Okay.
Onion chips.
And that's thick. I was surprised on the catfish when you said that today, but that just is.
That would be a wrap item. Yeah, we've had a lot with catfish. Odd ones. I mean, we have pork rings in our freezer right now, but we have families that have chosen that.
Okay.
So we try to get some foods that different ethnic groups would probably choose.
Did I hear you correctly? Pork what?
Pork brains.
Pork brains.
Yes. All right. It comes in a tub, kind of like whipped cream. Pork brains. We've had pork liver. We always want to make sure we have food because we have families who don't eat meat, where they don't eat pork. So we want to make sure that we have items for them as well.
Okay. Excellent. So how can people get more involved? Either be community members, staff members. How can they help either if they feel like donating or getting connection with donations or volunteering?
They can call me directly at our office or send me an email. I'm going to bet you guys could put that on the bottom of the screen. And they talk to me personally. I mean, every volunteer we have, I've talked to before they came in here. If they are volunteering in the building, because JWR is here, they do not have a background check if they're here before 5 o'clock.
Okay. Excellent. And I know you can see not only our volunteers that are here that aren't working right now, but they will be in a moment, but our great volunteers here behind as well from Southport High School. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Sandy, again, I think you've got a great future in broadcasting. If you so choose, you can help me out at any time. But again, appreciate you, Mrs. Quinlan. Thanks for the work that you do and the Student Services Department does across our district.
Thank you.
Please appreciate you tuning in this time, and we will do another one very soon. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. That's it for Students in the Super podcast. Join us next time as we continue to highlight the outstanding things happening in Perry Township schools.